map 2 that certainly went the distance here in this best of 5 lower finals. And after 4 rounds of overtime, it's going to be M80 to be up 2 in the series. And on series point, this was a crazy match, Dan. I mean, any map that you get 4 rounds of overtime on is sure to be a banger. But even before then, like, these teams fighting tooth and nail.
And there's so many things to talk about because we saw so many rounds of Valorant just be played. It was at 17-15 to close it out. And in the first half, second half, we were talking about how many Thrifties Winthrop University were losing. And the back and forth that we saw where Winthrop was willing to invest so many of those ultimates into the eco rounds to make sure that they could close it out. But that doesn't happen. It goes all the way to overtime. We see 3 rounds in a row on the defensive side where Sato is very much present on that C side with the operator. Everybody else kind of around it having just trying and figuring a way to close it out in the way that in the side they're struggling the most, and finally they make it happen. So that puts us in a 2-0 position. Only 1 map away from the grand finals is M80.
The fact that we get so many rounds of overtime, Roy, it just shows how close this was. But again, this was outlined for Winthrop as a potentially must win. And M80, I mean, recognizing that, they did not let up at all throughout the series. I mean, it was a quirky one with all these Thrifties and everything else. But when M80 needed to put on the gas, they certainly stepped up.
Yeah, they definitely did not relent whatsoever as soon as they started feeling that the game was in their control. But I do want to talk about something that Jen was mentioning in the 8-4 half, right? Like, yes, it was an 8-4 half for Winthrop University, but if you consider the 4 rounds that M80 had won, a lot of those were Thrifties. I think 2 or 3 of those were Thrifties. So the fact is, Winthrop University were in complete control to close out this map in an even much cleaner fashion than what it ended up being. This absolute just back and forth in overtime that allowed M80 to steal a map away, it feels like. Now we're in the situation where I can't help but feel like we're going into this third map. It's really going to be a little bit awkward on the Abyss side. But before we even get there, let's dial it back and talk a little bit about somebody that I feel like had a massive impact in this game, and that's Bao.
Yeah, what we saw from Bao was just unreal, by the way. And this is not something that we just saw on this map. We've been seeing it constantly, but especially today, Bao was having an insane impact when it came to closing out those rounds. Even at 8-4, when we go back to that round 12, he gets a 3K with the Sheriff. He makes sure that the C side is going to be held until the end by M80, and he's doing this over and over again as we go into the overtime. Especially, he ends up with what, 33 kills or something, whatever it is. Unreal.
It truly was. I mean, I'm still just like, oh man, this could have been a different game if, you know, we were not peeking the attack from the defense off from Sato every time. But like, fact, it was so close. And pulling up how the players performed through all this, there was already a quick shout out here looking at Bao and what he was able to do. But I feel like we got to see a lot of step ups across the board. B-Dog was someone that also was popping off, that B-God, as Roy likes to say, and especially to the knife kill. Sentis from both ends stepping up. And we had compared and contrast, Roy, Sato going up against Infiltrator quite a few times. And Sato definitely near the tail end of that, I think, had so much impact. But Infiltrator on this Yoru was something that was definitely a little tricky to contend with earlier on.
Yeah, Sato was definitely struggling in the first part of the half, but I can't even really say that he was playing poorly. It was just Winthrop University that had a good read on how they wanted to minimize the neon value. And it really did feel like they had Sato's number. They kept countering him in many great ways, using a lot of util to shut him down, using the Yoru to just be so annoying, getting into positions, into these one and dones where he could just teleport out. But I really do feel like Winthrop University did play a great Haven, all things considered. Yeah, they could have secured rounds. They were in favor, and especially in the economy advantage rounds. But ultimately, Winthrop University just found their win. Bao having a great pop-off moments as well, really putting the team on his back.
It looks so nice from Bao, and we already talked about it, but it's just, it's crazy because we don't really see this from a Sentinel that often. And when we do, it's just a statement of how good they are. We talked about it on that map of Lotus, that first map that we saw, what he was doing, playing by himself in so many of those rounds, and he just did the exact same thing on Haven. I feel like this is one of those guys where you can really trust him. He can leave that site all by himself on the Cypher, and don't worry, he's going to take care of it. That's also why a lot of those kills and a lot of those 36 kills that he got, they turn into the first kills, right? He's the only one inside. He has to defend it. He has to take action while the rest of the team is making that rotation. position, and he's gonna handle it just fine. 1-2 kills almost every single time. I mean, I don't think I ever saw one play from Bao where I was like, okay, what's going on? He always knew what the plan was to make sure that the team was going to win it.
Yeah, and whenever you have a player like Bao on your team, it really does feel like your options are so much more open, right? Like if your teammates are getting stuck on the other side of the map and you need somebody to try to make a play or try to like put pressure on the map, this guy was the player to do that consistently on their attack side. It really did feel like he was almost wall hacking, where he was just so aware of where everybody is on the lurk. He knew exactly where to look. He knew exactly where people would be jiggling or holding for space. And it felt like he kept like even this round right here, like walking in, knowing exactly what angle moves is holding, opening up the map, Cypher ulting, getting kills on the lurk. Just the level of impact this player is having, which is crazy, because I feel like we very rarely talked about him after the first few regulation matches, right? Because he was just so largely overshadowed by the Caillou pickup. He was so largely overshadowed by Okeanos, who was playing Duelist early on, and how well we did was performing. But now we're getting playoffs Bao. That is end game boss Bao. I was not familiar with his game, so I'm sorry. Shout out.
And I mean, I don't know if Winthrop University was entirely either. And Bao, I think in some of those rounds, I would have loved to counter to be like, how many rounds would M80 have lost if Bao just didn't have the most insane step ups? And now Winthrop University have to deal the consequences of Bao's pop-off actions, is now they're down 2. And now going into the next map, things looking a little dire because we're heading over to Abyss. This goes back to an M80 pick. But also, M80, Dan, they look great on this map. They got the double duelist, they have the aggression, whereas on the side of Winthrop University, we actually haven't seen this since all the way back in Swiss Week 3, and it wasn't that great then.
It wasn't great then, and I'm really concerned on, I mean, what has changed since, right? We saw again when they played against Burger Boys, it was a 13-7 that they lost. And it just a map. I feel like we haven't seen this map for a good reason. A lot of teams kind of opting away from it. And for M80, like you said, it has been good. It has been consistent. I think you can rely on the fundamentals, the strategy that they've been relying on for the past few maps, and how they want to play these retakes, how they want to set up around the map. But I don't know. I don't know if I see it for Winthrop University. We talk about the experience that they have and how much experience that they have compared to everybody else, but it doesn't apply to this map. And also, you're coming from a loss that has to hurt a lot. That's when teams have always struggle to recover, because you think it's winnable. You're always a few rounds away, 1 round away. You think the last round was winnable because you take down Sato, and guess what? You lose it. Can they come back in time?
Yeah, that's a really good question. I would also like to remind us that the last time Winthrop University played this was 6 weeks ago. I know we brought that up, but they were literally running a Gecko. I feel like I have not seen a Gecko or Abyss played in so long. It feels like. But now M80 is going to come into this map. They're running a composition that really fits their players, the double duelist. I'm quite nervous for the Winthrop University side.
Yeah, we'll have to see what they switch up, if anything, now heading into the agent select here. And you're talking about not having seen it for 6 weeks. They've played it a little bit in non-official matches, but it's also not something that's necessarily gone their way. They swapped off the Gecko for a little bit, but most recently went back to it. Not feeling it today, though. It's going to be no Gecko, Roy, and instead all this other good stuff agent going up against this double duelist composition that M80 has.
Yeah. Also, one thing as well that I would like to point out is the fact that Winthrop University is choosing to start on the defense side. This map has been historically quite awkward on defense. There just aren't really a lot of positions to play, and it really does feel like you're very restricted in how you want to approach the site holds. And now we're going into a map where they're opting to start on defense, and of course M80 has looked so good on their attack sides, so I feel like it's slightly, I say slightly, but it's heavily leaning in favor of M80 here for their first half sweep.
Last time that we saw these two teams, or last time that we saw M80 playing on this map, was a 13-11 where they won against MV. But I just have to say, I love to see Oki back on the duelist, back on the Yoru. We know that this guy, towards the beginning of the Swiss stage, towards the beginning of this year, he was on the duelist role, and while they were waiting for Sato. But guess what? Now Sato's here in every way possible. He's fragging out. He's playing for the Jet, with the Jet for the first time today, and also Oki is able to frag out in one of his better agents on the Yoru. So expectations are high for M80. This can be the map that takes him to the grand finals.
Oh, you know, Winthrop University down 2 in the series hates to see an Oki on Yoru coming, but it's time now to head into Abyss to see if Winthrop University can turn this around and try and take us to one more map, or if it's going to be M80 to clean sweep the series and send themselves into the grand finals. Let's head over to Abyss and back to your casters, Marks and Jen.
Thanks so much, Sierra. Yes, we are approaching possibly the end of the series, all depending on if Winthrop still have fuel in the tank. And this is just not the map they wanted to go to. This is chosen by M80 and at a 75% win rate. We hope to see more of this series, Marks.
I mean, we really do. Just the map pool alone is not really favored towards Winthrop and more favored towards M80. But once again, maybe we'll see something different come out from this Winthrop squad. We haven't really seen this map, like the Tusk was saying, in quite a long time. So maybe this entire time, you know, they've just been bottled up, just hitting the books, making sure they're studying up. We're going to see some nice textbook Valorant with the Tejo coming in. But once again, I think that this double duelist composition from M80 has just been dominant the previous times.
Oh, early pistol. From Alley, just the 2 or 3 person walk up from Winthrop, and they love to do this on Lotus, and they do it again on Abyss just to lead, fight off with confidence. And yeah, the Tejo, I mean, Flair has played only Tejo for a month straight. And we were talking us two about whether we're going to see a second controller, because he also plays the Brim and the Astra, but trying to stay to something comfortable, which Winthrop not feeling so comfortable after taking some damage over at A, but Nasi's still with us.
And yeah, I want to also just highlight again, Okeanos playing this Yoru was previously the duelist here, but has a lot of games under his belt as that Yoru. So this isn't just kind of like a, hey, let's play Yoru on this map. This could work out in the long run as a Infiltrator finds yet another kill.
Can't be flashed if you shoot the clone while you're in smoke, but Winthrop, holy cow, are just lasers today. A flawless pistol round? They love to kick things off well when a match starts. But again, it's just the 8-4 curse that they sort of need to overcome.
Yeah, I mean, if we're following history based off these last 2 maps, then we're going to see M80 fall behind 8-4. Oh, no. And then suddenly they're just going to come alive into that last one. And given the fact that M80 is a little bit more comfortable on this map, I would hope that they could get that snowball rolling just a little bit earlier here. But still, Winthrop University just doing a great job at holding mid that last round, as it's going to be a little bit more aggressive. Infiltrator going in, taking some damage, will back out. It's neither here nor there as Okeanos gets that ultimate orb. And it does look like M80 will be moving around onto B, where they might run into Moobs, who has been fantastic on map number 1.
I like this camera to just try and circumvent all the smokes that are just going to be annoying as hell. And camera's going to be gone, and quite a few steps that Moobs is able to hear on the other side, and he's just been the ultimate anchor and one of the most consistent players on Winthrop. And M80 just kind of stealth away and even smoke off mid, and they're just going to play off of maybe some info from B-Dog.
Yeah, B-Dog just hanging out. I mean, it seemed a little bit rushed at the beginning, but there's still 45 seconds left on the clock, so M80 by no means had to go through. They will shoot out that door there as Nasi will just launch a shock bolt, and it's going to be into Flair's crosshairs.
How is Flair going to do if he's outnumbered, though? Rifle's nice, but the focus fire could be nicer. But no, M80 are so split up by the smokes, and addressing the lanes pretty isolated and staggered. And even the sheriffs are getting wins, so good flawless win, and another flawless win at that, I should say, for Winthrop.
Yeah, and that's going to be important for this next one. I mean, the lowest weapon that they're going to have is potentially just a couple of sheriffs. We're actually seeing Nasi buy up, bring that Vandal into this next round, but just a couple of excellent trap plays coming in here, forcing M80's hands to just kind of walk into exactly where they would want them to. As M80 have really showed us something that leaves room for a lot of work to happen here. But now that they've got rifles, moving into this next one, I'm hoping that we can see something a little bit better. They're walking right into the Cypher yet again. And moves hopefully won't do moves things to M80.
Wow, that's a round 3 dimensional trip from Okeanos. Okay. That's just the firepower of double duelist, and M80 need to have a strong offensive start like we know them to be. That's full control of B, although the backside is pretty exposed from Winthrop, and B-Dog doesn't allow the flank to really be activated there from Flare.
Eyes down.
And it just continues to crumble for Winthrop, who have yet to register a kill in this map. And I'm glad I had a positive curse for once, as Nazi helps kick down the door. He's gonna need some help in flooding in his alley. 2 versus 4. Where the spike is, there's a jet lurking around, and Sato finds his way around the back.
Fantastic stuff. That double duelist, so good at taking a lot of space. Just using the single dimensional drift from Okeanos, like you said, a kind of a crazy 3rd round dimensional drift, is able to just flush moves out completely and scout out everything that could be a hindrance for the rest of M80 to move in. After that, it's just easy pickings. They set themselves up, and Winthrop University, with the inferior weaponry, have such a hard time being able to do anything. M80 swapping their tactics, now going to be potentially pushing out onto this A site, leaving Sato to just take that mid control here, as Okeanos will be the tip of the spear, at least to contest against this A side defense as this round starts out.
It's not obviously gonna go for orb, but this is pretty aggressive, maybe trying to set things up and make a call for Infiltrator to dash in.
Timing.
Oh, okay. B-Dog had so much time to put a whole clip into his gun and kill Nazi. Kind of insane. Maybe Infiltrator gets his revenge. Maybe B-Dog gets backup. No, he's just going to teleport a play away and keep safe.
B-Dog just kind of like, I got mine, and I did a little bit of damage. I'm out of here. Gets away nice and easy, scot-free. His Infiltrator is forced to back up, but they know that this site is going to be weakened. They just have to take this jet down.
Infiltrator's not wanting to make a play, not having dash and having smokes, but just needing to be the last man standing, I guess, on A as Flare rotates away. And there's a mid push, pretty aggressive from Ali. And this worked out for Winthrop. That pistol, but they also had more numbers. As Ali takes the 1v1, but also takes the L. As Sato now gets caught by the rotations of Flare. And Winthrop try to reinforce B, and Moves does a great job at limiting M80's numbers, and it's a 2v2. 10 seconds left, M80 plant. But with how quick that plant went down, B-Dog is still just quicker to react than everyone else, even when they got the pre-aim on him. Use the teleport to get some information. 1v1, B-Dog, Infiltrator, not a lot of HP. Infiltrator above, Ponytail spotted, and the pistol is not gonna give you luck this time. That's a 4K for B-Dog.
Fantastic stuff from B-Dog. Just being so dynamic, flowing like water all throughout this map. Making sure not only to be able to get in onto the site, get a couple of frags out there, uses the ultimate, scouts out the final member, and is able to return and just play so intelligently off of it. And quite frankly, B-Dog on this Omen has been something that has been a staple for M80. Obviously was highlighted with the matchup yesterday where B-Dog just activated, but we're seeing a lot of that on this map as well. You want your Omen to be that dynamic, be able to take over so much space for free, find a couple of frags, and B-Dog is definitely living up to that expectation. M80, they tie things up this time. History will not repeat itself on map number 3.
Just feels like B-Dog also capitalized on Winthrop kind of fumbling from that first kill to even being lower HP. And the rest of M80 continued to just have stronger kills in the early round and able to have an open sight. While Ali waits for reinforcements, and you maybe got the longest flank of all time from Moobs over at B, but where's this hit gonna be? It's obviously gotta be A, and as M80 are gonna unite, this is gonna put a lot of pressure on Flare and Ali.
Here's your Yoru jump scare for the map. We see the engagement underway now. It is just going to be Flare up top, and Flare has been popping off this game, but won't be able to do so this time.
This is so uncharacteristic of Winthrop to be so staggered. Like the jump down from Flare and Ali's disengaging. You have moves who didn't get called to rotate. I guess as you just had to have eyes on that side of the map, but Winthrop not playing together is going to be their demise. And I don't blame them for maybe feeling a bit off after how long that last map was. But moves surely hasn't given up. 1v3 tries to camera to get vision on the right side and adjust his aim against B-Dog. Wait against Sato. The 1v1. But the spike is ticking down, so this clutch looks cool, but does he have time to pull it off? And Caillou is just gonna shock bolt him off the map.
It's been a while since I've seen one of those animations. It's so funny to see. But no, I was just about to say, like, oh yeah, moves just in a 1v4, this should be fine. Or sorry, 1v3, this should be fine. And moves, you know, turning it up yet again. We're seeing it feels like the Sentinels of both of these teams being the real big impact player. And I'm sorry, it actually was a 1v4 after all, but Caillou just being smart about it, knowing the raid boss that Moves has been previously, giving full respect over and just playing off the shock bolt very intelligently. Sato now, knives in hand, tries to go for it, can't quite find it.
Oh, just a spray, 51 HP to nothing.
Who's next?
And just, I don't even think did damage to Ali. Winthrop stays stable and stoic as they reinforce. And now the Hunter's Fury hopes to force them back. M80 have some real estate, but now their spike carrier is surrounded, and Caillou got smoked off, so he couldn't support. And this is so awkward. How does Caillou try to fight back when Bao is a secondary and he's still rotating in? The spike is down within the site, and it's within vision of Nasi with his own Hunter's Fury and his own shock bolts.
Boobs moving in right now. Still this 2v2 scenario. Smoke goes up.
Oh, there's the double swing and better coordination out of M80 in that 2v2. And for the spike to go down and for that, how awkward that round looked from M80, they pull it together.
And this is an important one to win, given the fact that it makes the economy of Winthrop University look that much more rough. And of course, too, making sure that they're able to have the round advantage in their favor. It is going to be a full save coming in from Winthrop University. And I like how M80 are playing so far. It does feel like they're spreading themselves out, not necessarily giving up any 1vx's. It's just a double squad moving in and then really leaving one agent to anchor down onto the other side in case we see Winthrop get aggressive, which we kind of know that they're known for playing. And as soon as I say that, already look at Moves just moving up and taking so much space. Does get smoked out here as Sato trades a couple of these bullets, trying to get a little bit of value, and Ali already very low.
M80 are losing map control quick. Don't have the right side. And Winthrop could be spotting this. I think Moves has already smelled something is up, and he's got sheriffs, but we've seen Thrifties with this before, and the Yoru clone triggering some of this util as Moves tries to play his life and hope that Aussie gets picks, and that's huge with the Hunter's Fury after Okeanos couldn't teleport away and use his clone and the Cosmic Divide to try and make the site even smaller than it already is for M80 to seal things in. The salve was just seconds too late. Couldn't prevent the plant. Now M80 set their vision forward, their focus at the top site, and player was checking something else, was able to turn and burn and get revenge. B-Dog with the two-piece. It's a 2-on-1 as the retake from Ali is gonna suffer. And M80 have a strong lead with 5 rounds in a row built up.
Yeah, and on top of that too, we see Winthrop commit the Cosmic Divide in response. They try and cut off some of these angles, think that they've got a good timing, and the only person who's been getting good timings is a B-Dog. 11 kills to their name. M80 5-2 thus far. Winthrop University will now be taking their time out to try and figure out how they can start to recover this defense. They've been doing a really good job at controlling the map, controlling all of the space throughout things. However, it's just M80. Once that ball gets rolling into one of these sites, they always come up good for it, no matter how much defense Winthrop University throws at them. It feels like Winthrop are really good at catching a couple of members on the entry, catching them in these awkward angles, able to find a couple, but still the ball that is M80 is doing more than enough. And right now it's right off of B-Dog's shoulders, being very solid in all of this chaos to make sure that those kills come through.
Yeah, you're exactly right. What can Winthrop do when they're outnumbered and they always leave it down to, it's always down to the last 1v1, 2v2. Like, this is so insanely close as Winthrop took a very early timeout to try and not hemorrhage too much and also figure out how can he set up Infiltrator for success.
Yeah.
His first jet ult is online.
And that's a really excellent point. I mean, when you look at Infiltrator, this is the guy you want to be fragging out. You want Infiltrator to become activated. And Infiltrator has been getting nothing this game. It's so difficult for that jet to find any value here. And now with the operator bullets shooting out as well, M80 are so aware of where that operator is and are understandably going to be playing around it.
Yeah, and Winthrop got delayed from being aggressive because of also shooting a Yoru decoy, so that was tough. And now they have to quickly rotate back, but holding the line is Nasi and moves. The Sentinel has been something else for Winthrop to help them scrounge up some more rounds. And it's just Oki versus 3. And the spike is down too, so time won't even be on his side, and it's just the dance, and what's left is Infiltrator cleaning up the round.
See, and that's good. Just take the fights on the actual site before they even move in there. Make it so much more difficult for them to be able to push in that time around, whether intentional or not. Winthrop University simply just had people hanging out there. And when M80 are engaging off of throwing all their utility, getting people into position, it's just easy pickings for Winthrop University to make sure that that entry just simply does not happen. They react quickly, and that has to happen a bit faster. When Winthrop are playing that slower style, when Winthrop are waiting for the confirmation that M80 are in, M80 have already taken the site and found a couple of members out. We need to see the response from Winthrop to be a little bit quicker, even if that enables M80 to start playing a little bit more mind games.
Now with just the alley stars, the trips, and all the delays, Winthrop have a different crossfire setup, but Sato's just quicker to the trigger and matches that 1-for-1. Sally jumps away in that hesitation. That butter knife could have rang true there. As the rest of M80 continue to commit now that they have support. But Winthrop just trade blow for blow. And you still have the spike like on its way for M80. So all the space may be for nothing. As Sato's in trouble and has to smoke his way out.
It's still quite a bit of damage done. Sato's still walking out, sheriff in hand. It's never over when there's sheriffs on the board.
There's a Tejon drone that just lets him get all the way towards the spike. So this is going to reveal Bao. Or at least that a member is on the spike side. They're going to use the Armageddon to force him out of position. And Sato tries to back him up. Such a smart play from Winthrop.
And I know what you're thinking. You're sitting there being like, an Armageddon, really? Yeah, you're going up against 2 people. You got the superior weaponry. But at this point, Winthrop University need to get their economy under check and rolling. The fact that they have that operator in play for Infiltrator, that is a very expensive boon, and they need to protect that to make sure that they don't fall into an economic collapse, even if they do scoop up some of these rounds. So it might, some people might argue that that was a little bit overkill, for lack of better terms, but still you need to make sure that you are scooping things together. M80 on this next one will have that dimensional drift. I was such a fan of seeing what they could do based off of it last time. I'm expecting great things, but this I imagine is going to be a faster play.
Winthrop went from breaking the 5-round win streak from M80 to start building their own.
Who's next?
Infiltrator off is going to be pushed. The dimensional drift is going to force Infiltrator all the way back, and Okeanos is not going to want to pop out. And he's all the way at the back of A. With the smokes in place, M80 have really encapsulated this objective, and they got the spike down. Got a 5 retake, though, from Winthrop, and they pop their ult. And the drone just get themselves their half figured out as Winthrop begin pushing in. Out that one of the smokes have cleared. That's the Asher smokes. The Oma one is still present at the window. And no flank from Winthrop. A paranoia from the offense as M80 are just standing and delivering as Winthrop need to get an edge. And it's Infiltrator cutting through 2, but not having a lot of time. And there's the grab wheel pulling off the potential diffuser. M80's protocols are so clean.
It's just so good. And on top of that too, we were waiting for that round where Sato was going to be able to pop off, and that time was just doing just that. Hanging out onto the site, finds a couple of kills, gets the jet dash back online, just sidestepping all of the knives that Infiltrator tosses in, and makes sure that that operator does not get as much value as it could have. M80, just off of these dimensional drifts, are completely unstoppable. Okeanos is doing a fantastic job at flushing all of the defenders off of the site, as well as making sure that they get all the space that they need, allowing the rest of M80 to move in. I think there's a reason why we're seeing them just shuffle all these orbs to the Yoru. It's because so far, every single time, it has been a round win for M80.
Yeah, the smoke setup from M80 has just been so clean at A, and they found a lot more success there. There's 2 stars, though, if Winthrop gonna try and build a trap play. Maybe some salvos or just flare.
Oh.
And Infiltrator popping off. And what a read from Infiltrator. He knows too much what Sato's up to. The Hunter's Fury's getting pings. And there's the final blow on Infiltrator. And the numbers favor M80 once again, taking care of 2 key players of the defense and leaving moves to be on a flank. And he's been checked in the past. But this time, it will be Bao that has to shut that down, as the Winthrop want to converge at the right time from the front and the back.
It's so good. The fact that Moves has all this space, Winthrop know exactly where M80 are.
30 seconds left.
Oh, the flank shut down again. How many times are Winthrop gonna keep doing it? And M80, it's not been an easy frontline war. What a quick turn from Caillou. And Bao has been so pivotal, popping off again.
Just the awareness, the flicks coming out. It's so good from M80. If Moobs found that first kill, it could have all been over. M80 were stuck in a cage, and they fight their way out of it. Winthrop University, especially too with Ali alive. Ali has been doing a fantastic job at finding a couple of kills when they need him most, but just off of a single ultimate, still finding so much value. M80 are so powerful every single time they use one of their ultimates. And I imagine that this is going to be a trend that we continue to see, as also too their ult economy has been extremely well cycled.
A broken buy from Winthrop as they just take a big risk. And what? Infiltrator with a weird dash. And now the flash as Oki capitalizes. And he had the spike? What are we cooking? Okay, I guess they're just going to suppress Winthrop back. I thought that would have been a moment for Winthrop to try and fight that. But they were worried about the paranoia and what else from M80. But that could have been dire for M80.
Well, they still have that Cosmic Divide online, given the fact that this is the last round in this half. Be one of those where you might as well use it. But Winthrop University, they've got their fingers on the pulse. They know exactly where they're going to be coming from. Still 50 seconds left, though, so plenty of time to play off of.
3v5 can't have an 8-4 curse if it's not 8-4, right? It all depends on how this is going to be broken down. It's a Cosmic Divide. Breaks the site in half as M80 have a sense of security. They're met with a lot more force, but they dispatch every danger from Winthrop. And we're left with a 2v2. A 5 versus 3 turnaround. Neural theft as moves. Doesn't have a corpse in sight, is all the way at A main. And you have yet another Winthrop flank. And M80 have 11 seconds. And Moves can have a big shutdown, and he does. He kills the spike carrier. And Bao needs help. He's got to go for a last second plant. And Moves is interrupted by a star placed in his path. And Winthrop managed to clutch.
Okay, so everything we know about the last maps, throw it out the window. Winthrop University, they secure their 5-7 half. The first time that they are in the first time that M80 are in the lead after a half of match. And once again, it's moves to clutch things up. Infiltrator starting it out with a very good headshot, but it was a fantastic comeback from B-Dog as well as Bao to somehow bring this back into winnable territory. Yet, of course, leaving moves alive, allowing plenty of time for Elite to just move all the way around on that flank. Works out perfectly for Winthrop. M80 now onto this defense. Arguably their better side. So let's see what Winthrop University have in store for us, especially to bringing Flare onto that Tejo. This is a little bit more unconventional. We haven't seen this team play this map, and let's see how this one spells out.
M80 always win the second pistol though, but I don't know. My conspiracy could be out the window. We don't have an 8-4, but all depends on this matchup. Asato's out in the open, can't even dash back to safety, and there's no backup from Caillou, who cowers around the corner, was maybe hoping to recon or do something else, and was not on the same vibe as Sato.
Somehow on the pistol round, yet again, Winthrop University win those long-range battles. Makes it that much more punishing, but it's not devastating for M80, only losing Sato out of all of the members. So 4 people still alive. Winthrop University looking ready to engage this B site at a moment's notice.
Good read from M80 to await them, and it's going to be equal exchanges with the smoke in place from M80. But also getting some vision of course, the people on the high ground able to spot each other. Gonna force maybe Winthrop to retreat, and there's no one from M80 in mid
30 seconds left.
to kind of catch this rotation, so M80 are gonna be a little bit behind.
Yeah, and on top of that too, still plenty of time. It feels like there's such fast engagements on this map where we see just a pop-off happen at the beginning and then a nice long lull before the 30 seconds finally happen, where we will be seeing this spike go down.
10
It's gonna be
seconds
3v4 onto this retake. Still 2 smokes available for B-Dog and a Paranoia, as yeah, they just get it down in time. That was a little close.
All right, the window is open, and okay, Ali is gonna cover those bases. Flare watching as well. Nasi just front and center, and it's Flare that catches someone at the window, and B-Dog is ready too. No real util for the defense, and Nasi just postures so well. Really great coordination from Winthrop to keep themselves in the shadow of M80.
Must cultivate a sense of calm.
Yeah, this is still very much a winnable scenario. If you know anything about comebacks on these last 2 maps, you can't count Winthrop University out of this one yet. A very important pistol round coming through from them, as they will be getting their buy up here. M80. The point gap is closing. Very possible that we're going to have a tie up, despite the fact that they were able to get the right read. Winthrop University just doing a really good job at these mid rounds at making different calls, and this has been very characteristic of their attack on every single map.
Winthrop have pulled through on both pistols this time. See what this lurk from Moobs can do, as there's a double walk up from B. And with the trip in place, which he could just play off of that, and that would be the safer play. Hopefully has heard this. The trip has been triggered, and the double kill from Moves. He's been able to handle that type of pressure before. Think about his impact on Lotus, and he does it again. And he's gonna call the rotate from Winthrop.
Yeah, still plenty of time. Like I said, that first initial clash happens. Still got it, and off the edge. Yeah, let's just make this round over so they can even plant the spike for that additional ult orb. So a little bit of a tactical fall there, as now it's all tied up.
Oh, this is a nice spot.
Wow, what a comeback from Winthrop. To be as resilient after just the long overtime that we just had. Now maybe even an outlaw too, that can continue. Beautiful double kill from Moobs, just playing off the trip.
And like Moobs specifically on Winthrop has been such a high impact player. Whether or not it's finding these frags like we're getting to see right now, and we're being treated to it honestly, or just having the utility to make sure that it's so much more difficult for M80. this matchup really is just the battle of the Sentinels. Bao obviously not playing a Sentinel on this map, but still is kind of on that anchor Astra. And it's one that you honestly didn't expect. Everyone thought it was going to be all about the duelists on this one, but the Sentinel players have just been so sturdy in making sure that they support the rest of their teams on this entire match.
Very slow default from Winthrop, and this is the pace that they like to play at. Now confident in Moobs' call to just try and test out B. But it's the rifles at range that you got to worry about. Oh man, and it doesn't really work out for Moobs. And maybe Ali with the Outlaw could have a range diff against M80, but sightlines are open. Oh, the headshot from Oki. That was gross. Now the star, the smoke is gonna delay things as Winthrop have to choose how to stagger in. But the spike is sort of falling behind as Winthrop are just falling behind. They may just grab the orb, and now they have all the attention. They feel like they don't have time to go elsewhere with how big this map is and the slow walk up. Just Winthrop don't have any tools to create an advantage on this. And maybe get back into the lead with a flawless.
The two duelists basically doing that meme where like the two really strong and muscular men grab each other by the fist. Both Okeanos and Saito just staying alive and just taking timings one by one, finding kills, not really too interrupted or anything, just a little bit of a nod of mutual respect as Asada starts it out, but Okeanos just kind of playing a little bit more dynamically. And at that point, it just simply came down to an aim diff with M80 clutching it up. But now Winthrop will have the guns to respond onto this next one. Keep in mind though, Okeanos 1 away from getting that dimensional drift online. And I'm very excited to see how this one might play out, especially on that defense instead.
Slow default didn't work out from Winthrop last time, but now with better weaponry, surely, right? His Moobs is sensing something around this box. Camera's right above him. Uh-oh. Okay, forces the teleport out. Hey, that's still one cooldown that you're happy to remove out of the arsenal of M80. And this has pulled the attention of 3 from M80 on the left side of the map. And they're going to keep Caillou to watch over mid. Got the one way that's going to give B-Dog a chance to really put a dent into this attack. And a smoke to try and stagger things. B-Dog gets up to him, and his position is revealed, so now he loses that advantage. And moves his lurk, causing tension on the defense. And Caillou keeps things stifled for Winthrop as they cross on through behind the lead of Infiltrator. But the window is open, and M80 have eyes. They have a paranoia, and this hits most of Winthrop while blinded. Ali is built differently. The supportive play while the plant happens is huge. This has salvaged the round and given Winthrop the numbers lead 4-2. Asato and Bao. I don't know what they're planning here, but it should be a crazy flank.
I think they're just bowing out of this one, yielding everything, and apparently the lesson from Star Wars Episode 3 is not applicable. The high ground is not more powerful. As Ali just finding so much value on just shooting them at their feet. And now it's just M80 trying to at least walk away with one of these weapons. Looking unlikely unless Sato does something like that. Still finds 2. But Winthrop University, they tie things up. This could go either way here, Jen.
Still think those kills are massive because look how broke Winthrop are. Like, they were up to the couple hundred credits and they're getting pretty dangerously low. Now down to 0 for someone like Flare. So this is a pretty must-win round for Winthrop. And I want to say that M80 had a bit more wiggle room. This was such a funny play. Oh, just a little sidestep. Moves has created so many options for Winthrop to pivot, and he alone could be what inspires them to go to a weaker site.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing. Like, you see that the engagement is happening onto A, but as soon as Moobs gets that pick, Sato has to come back and reinforce because it could go bad already. Sato on site gets gunned down.
Holy cow, what a cleared, what a take from Winthrop. And reinforcements will be coming in, but dimensional drift, this is possible. Would he want to maybe give this off to someone else? Or what's going to be to the play? Is Oki, I don't think anyone's moving out with just the state of the credits. M80 just don't even want to risk the 3v5.
Yeah, especially too with that operator in hand. That's an expensive pie that we see come in from M80, and they're rewarded with pretty much nothing. They're just going to hold on to these weapons and hope for the best. And of course, on the other side as well, Winthrop University, being pretty low on credits, are not necessarily going to be chasing this one. Only going to send out Nacy just because of how the economy is kind of working out there. But this is a good round from Winthrop University, really changing up the tempo of how this one would play out to make sure that they just take M80 by storm. And it works out perfectly for them as B-Dog finds Nacy just at the end there to get one kill closer to having that ultimate online.
And the lead just keeps going back and forth. All right, it started off with Winthrop with pistol. M80 went on a 5 streak. Then Winthrop start with a lead in the second half. And it gets tied up, and then it's back to Winthrop. Like, this is for all the marbles. This is to go to the grand final.
Yeah, it really is. And, you know, everyone was kind of counting Winthrop out based off of previous match history. But they're doing a really good job right now with just a little bit of individual frag potential of moves being so annoying to M80 to kind of deal with on that flank. And we've seen so many rounds just get swapped around just because of things that moves are doing, just like this, forcing the spacing there, winning the duel against Okeanos, forcing the hand of this M80 squad to deal with how annoying this Cypher has been. And so M80, they lose the lead in what started as very dominant, but I think this is just the match of comebacks coming through.
Yeah, even if this registers as a sweep, like, it just doesn't tell the full story of what really broke down and how much M80 really had to sweat for this. Like, 17-15 overtime is insane on their best map. Like, there hasn't been a team that has pushed M80 to their limits except one. That's Shopify Rebellion Black, the ones that sent M80 to this point. And that's who awaits either of these teams in the grand final against everyone's expectations. So it's important, but Winthrop are gonna have to pull it together, not only on this map, but to try and pull off the reverse sweep, which I don't know when the last time you've seen what happened, Marks, in a best of 5, but that would be generational, which is how you could also describe Winthrop's run in this bracket in the first place.
I mean, at this point, like, we have to think about it a little bit in that stamina mental game here. As the series continues to drag out, Winthrop University will be a little bit more comfortable because, once again, M80 are going to be the ones who are like, well, we had 2 maps already, should be able to get map number 3. And if they lose this one, then they're going to be kicking themselves about that, have to play yet another map. And all of these maps are relatively close. The mental strain alone can really start to wear down on some of these players, especially too some of that mental anguish that's been happening with how back and forth things have gone and so many lucky rounds being awarded to the other side. And so as this series does continue, that's going to be a question that I have. Which team can show us just a little bit more mental resiliency to keep themselves calm?
I don't know. M80 were ready because Sato definitely had more credits to buy what he did and just like last second got a sheriff. But yeah, I guess he got a kill. So M80 sheriffs, man, they're different.
Truly are, but Okeanos dropping the operator. That's something that you don't want to be giving over to Infiltrator. And we'll do just that, the cycling of weapons to guarantee that no one from M80 can pick up yet another gun. As it is just a slow mid-round yet again being called from Winthrop University. They've been doing a good job of exploring that middle, making sure that no one from M80 is pushing up. But when push comes to shove, it's that A site that they love to hit.
Yeah, you just gotta go for a Yoru check, even though Okeanos is very dead. But for anyone else to sit on behind that corny box, no more corny plays for you. So, up from Infiltrator and friends that try to look a little bit above, just not tall enough to see over that smoke. M80 are just right on the other side. Well, mainly Caillou with like a sliver of health. With B-Dog that could support him with a Paranoia right down the tunnel.
Revealing
He also have Nasty wants to play his life because he has Paranoia. And there's the Paranoia infiltrator. Goes in blind. I think he was blinded. Still gets a kill. He's traded. 11 seconds left for Winthrop to
seconds
race
left.
in and get the plan. And M80 will not be able to prevent it.
One
And if
enemy
B-Dog
remaining.
was able to get that single frag, I think this would have been a completely different story. The time with Crunch would have been just a little bit too powerful. And now Bao up in a 1v3 to potentially try and win this one. It still was a buy up from M80, and that's what makes this much more annoying. The call has been made to save, so Bao is going to be just running for the hills. Keep that rifle alive into this next one. As Winthrop University, the comeback is mounting. It's going to be 10-8 as soon as that spike goes off.
With how many save, like, rounds ended by saves, it's kind of been such an economy battle between these two teams, and this is now a 3-round win streak as Winthrop's offense has been really sick, and this is one of their weakest maps in their pool. Like, they lost to Nightblood. I think the last time they went to this map was in round 3 of Swiss. They faced Nightblood, and that was a 13-5 loss. And look at Winthrop making our best team in this bracket, quote unquote, if you look at the preseason power rankings, like really sweat to their limits. It's not a huge lead. I mean, Winthrop got to really prove to us, though, that they can close out a map positively.
And it's a lot of pressure that's just continuing to mount on this M80 squad. Giving Winthrop that opportunity, like you said, just to close it out potentially. They got to stick the landing here. Hearing that operator from Sido should give an implication as to where Winthrop University need to focus their attention. A smoke going to be going up, allowing for a bit of a reposition as the bloom happens. And this time around, M80, they're getting a little bit exploratory just outside, with a Cosmic Divide being invested from Winthrop to make that plant that much easier.
And you heard the op, and Winthrop have to commit, like you said. So many stars in place too from Winthrop. And this lurk from Moobs is just more successful than it's not. They're trying to challenge this. Speed dog, and he gets the edge on too. Moobs is just that guy. Best Sentinel you could ask for, but Bao trades it with 2 equal numbers after all that effort. The Cosmic Divide in response to seal off half the site for M80 to approach safely to get access to the spike. And as they move past, Moob surprises them. It's traded 2 versus 2, up and up. The spike getting touched, and what a timing for Caillou. And now Sato with just no time to defuse. And Ali with the clutch for Winthrop to get up to 11.
That is unbelievable, and the momentum has securely swung back in the favor right now of Winthrop University. Look at the string of rounds coming together. Just a reminder, this was just a 7-5 half. M80 only able to get a single round, as Winthrop University are just running all over them. Look at the ultimates that are also coming back online for Winthrop. They are ready to go, and it's all because of the Cypher. Moobs has been immovable on this flank. M80 have tried so many different things and have gotten nothing away from that one Cypher player. I cannot understate just how impactful Moves has been on this specific map, and this calling for M80 to do yet another timeout. Try and figure out what they can do to stop the bleeding here, but M80 are poised to force out that map number 4.
If Winthrop win this, is because Moobs allows it. He better get, like, pizza ordered for him or something. Like, what an effort from that guy. And Ali, of course, to help finish off the round in that clutch scenario. And how is it that Winthrop do better at a half deficit than when they're up to 8-4? I'm just going to stop asking questions. If anything, we should ask how these 3 ults are going to be used after that timeout, because this could get them. And look how rich they are too. This is not going to be a question of economy for Winthrop. But if M80 don't pull out this round, it's over.
And just remembering the value that we've seen the Armageddons get, I'm a little bit worried to see what they've got in store. Already we're seeing Infiltrator pull out the knives here and go in very far deep.
Oh, just pulling out the knives with the Tejo drone, but it is traded. M80 are just gonna fight tooth and nail. They're a bit delayed by the Armageddon from Flare. And the dimensional drip from behind. This Okeanos spike is everything. And Flare will stay sturdy. As Winthrop don't have their spike even planted. They have all of M80's attention. And they're just gonna go for plan B and pivot with 51 seconds left. They have the time.
Taking that back.
Do they have the support? It's just gonna be Flare solo.
At this point, too, I wonder how much, excuse me, of an impact M80 not having a Sentinel on their team to keep moves in check has been the biggest pivotal thing, because every single time he goes to this 1v1, Moves is generally speaking won that one out. Caillou will be able to find that kill, but it's a little bit too late. They've got no tools really to stop the Cypher from going so far into their back line. And after this, Winthrop University are ready for map number 4. This is going to be round 12 for WU.
And we'll see what kind of buy that M80 can pull together. And Winthrop, who can keep their op, and they managed to deny the op from M80 as well. He got Hunter's Fury and a Neural Theft advantage, as Winthrop only had to use the Jet ult to find success early. M80 have been able to trade blow for blow and keep the numbers as even as they can, but just economy-wise, they fell so behind, as Winthrop have only lost one offensive round. And usually M80's been the big attacking team, but Winthrop just came dialed in for this map.
And this is something that we were not expecting coming into this. You heard the desk really just stack up the praises of M80 specifically on this map. Winthrop University, just the question marks that were left. But once again, they did their homework. They made sure to do what they needed to do in preparation-wise. And this already a fast hit.
Hunter's Fury dash on in. Infiltrator makes such incredible space, and he's been blinded by B-Dog and still
That's it.
diffs him.
Scanning ahead.
Infiltrator has stepped up huge. And this should be the win for Winthrop, to not let this be a sweep, to go all the way to Pearl coming up next, and it's up to Bao in the 1v3. And wow, that was possible there for a second. But Winthrop extend the series after that incredible win on Abyss and that lethal offense.
Yeah, that was crazy. They only dropped a single round in that second half. Winthrop just really coming alive. And M80, meanwhile, just looked confused as to what was going to happen. It looked very similar to Haven, where until Sato was able to find that operator onto C, Sato didn't necessarily have the impact that they were expecting. Meanwhile, Infiltrator, the dial just flew up to 12, and it worked out perfectly for them. I do say Moves definitely carrying Winthrop University through that one by making it that much more difficult for M80, but overall, just great job coming in from Winthrop to force out another map.
I can't believe it. And we go to Pearl, which is Winthrop's pick. So hold the brooms in the closets, folks. Like, what do we have in store in such a strong map where they won that against Envy, aka the former rankers, in the quarterfinal? This could be huge for Winthrop, but we'll see what M80 have up their sleeve after this break.
So we're of course different than other teams. We're a college, so you know we're based off semesters, and you know if we wanted to even make a change, which we weren't planning on, you know you have to go through a whole process of admitting someone into the school and doing all that stuff. So we kind of go with the flow. Like if we have bad problems with each other, like we have to get it done. Like we can't like sit on the problems for too long because then it'll just like mess up the team. So I mean, we have a lot of chemistry together because unlike other teams, we're with each other like all the time. We're always at the same facility. Some of us have the same classes. We're on the same schedules and stuff. So I would say that that's one of the biggest reasons why we have a lot of chem. He's added a good like bird's eye view of the game. He'll call a timeout whenever he sees us doing something wrong or have a read on the other team. So I think he brings in just like kind of a sixth sense, which helps us a lot. You're gonna expect us to do a lot better than last year. Definitely no fighting in relegation. And of course want to be in every single possible playoffs and of course try to win them.